All right, I'm going to try this one more time. As you can see, I am wearing the official shirt of We Should Have a Pipe Organ. And the lore behind that is that this shirt I wore 10 or 15 years ago in a video of me playing a pipe organ and explaining why St. George should have a pipe organ. And here I am all these years later saying why we should have a pipe organ while wearing the exact same shirt. And I lost this shirt, and it was in a box in a shed, and I didn't know it was there for years and years, for at least a decade. And I'm thinking more than that now. And, all right, finally those people left. But I remember this shirt from that video. I don't even know if that video is still online. I need to see if I can find it. If not, I'll have to reenact it. I haven't played an organ in years, though, and I'm not confident that I will sound very good. I was never very good to begin with, but after not playing for about a decade, I imagine I'm even more not good. So, but I imagine I could, I don't know, maybe play a couple of chords that sound somewhat not dissonant, and explain why I think that the acoustic properties of a real organ are better than an electronic imitation, and how a church like St. George should only have the best. All right, now that all those people have left, let's see what we can do here. All right, how about that? So now you can kind of see me. You can see my cool shirt here. We're going to talk about pipe organs for a couple of minutes. So what am I saying? St. George should have a real organ and should only have ever considered having a real organ. It has been way too many years now. And I don't know what else to say. I'm getting tired. It's been a long day. I did just talk about how the organ at St. George is very old. And I have a number of arguments for why it is not suitable. You know, it does a very poor job imitating the sound of a pipe organ. And I honestly and sincerely believe that the people at St. George who bought that organ were taken advantage of by an unscrupulous, dishonest person who was just going after easy prey and a quick commission and did a very minimal effort installation. And I'm going to force myself to stop my rant there, because that'll become the whole video. And that's really not even the point of it. Even if I had no issues with those things, even if I thought the sound was fine, even if I liked the way it was installed, that's totally irrelevant. That organ is 30 years old. And as much as I intensely dislike it, I have to admit that it's impressive that it has lasted as long as it has. But now it needs to be replaced because it's 30 years old. It's basically a fancy computer from 1995 and or 94. I saw a book that said 1994 on it. So that makes me think it might have been ordered in 94 and built in 94 and installed in 95. Whatever the case is, it's very old. It is literally an antique electronic device. And it's kind of complicated. Components that have been out of production for a long time could fail tomorrow, or they could fail next year, or they could fail in 5 more years. And when they do fail, it's going to be difficult chasing down parts that no one makes anymore. And there might be a stock of unused, like new old stock parts waiting to go in that. It's not going to be cheap, though, and I honestly don't think it'll be worth doing. I do think that the best and most prudent course of action would be to prioritize replacing that very obsolete, aging organ while it's still working, and get a pipe organ. A pipe organ can last for generations. It is literally you leaving behind a legacy for your children and grandchildren and their grandchildren. for your grandchildren's grandchildren's grandchildren. A pipe organ can last for a very long time. And yes, they do require maintenance and tuning, but everything requires maintenance. There's no such thing as maintenance free. Um, yes, electronic organs initially require less maintenance, but they also don't last as long. And I just said that I think it's impressive that the organ at St. George has lasted for 30 years. That is longer than I expected it to last, to be honest. But, I don't know how much longer it's going to last. So, like I just said, I think the best course of action would be to replace it with a pipe organ and give our church the dignity and majesty it deserves. And I think I'm going to make a separate video addressing some arguments about the organ. So thank you for bearing with me for a few minutes, and I'll be back momentarily.